I'm a patient at a hospital that's been closed for the past 4 years. Part 2. It looks like the full moon is out. I tell the time by lunar cycles now. I don't think I'm ever leaving this place. Hopefully my story gets out. I'll pick up where I left off. I woke up again, in the same room. Only this time I was strapped to the hospital bed. I started to thrash around and yelled out, "Help me! Help me! Anyone!" A doctor came into the room. An older man, with glasses and a mischievous smile. "Mrs. Taylor, good to see that you're awake." The memory of the needle to my neck came to me. "Why? You're the one that made me unconscious." He smiled, humoring me. "Are you feeling any pain in your stomach?" I thought about it. "No, nothing at all. Did you fix it?" He didn't respond. He was holding a clipboard, writing something. "Listen, I know that you can't hold me against my will. I have rights and..." "And what, Mrs. Taylor?" "The way I see it, you cannot possibly do anything in this situation. You're the one strapped to a bed, after all." He was right. I was completely stuck. "What do you want with me?" "That's none of your concern at this moment." "No. What's more pressing is a matter of trust. Can I trust you to stay on this floor, Mrs. Taylor?" "What? Why?" "I'll put it simply. If you promise not to leave this floor, I'll unfasten those harnesses, and you'll be free to move around at your leisure. If I can't trust you, unfortunately, I will leave you as you are, and you will become a perfect candidate for some of the more invasive experiments." I couldn't believe what was happening. I was stuck here for God knows what reason, and I had just found out that I would be used for experiments, invasive or otherwise. "I promise I won't leave this floor." I had the tone of a child after being scolded. "Good. We'll get a nurse in here to take care of you." He scribbled a few more things on the clipboard and left. Lying in the bed unable to move had got me thinking that I was in a hostage situation. The more people cooperated and followed along with their captors, the more trust the captors gave them. And in some cases, they were able to escape because of it. This was my plan: gain enough trust to walk out the front door. Fortunately, I wasn't a stranger to manipulation and lying. I had been known to be able to get anything I set my eyes on, and in some cases, I had to play dirty, and my life was never at stake. The nurse finally came after what felt like an eternity to remove the straps. "Alright, just remember not to leave this floor, no matter how tempting." She turned to leave, and I mimicked her face. I saw there were a pair of Crocs next to the bed. At least they're courteous enough to provide footwear. When I got out of the room, I decided to walk down the really long corridor after the secretary's desk. The same woman was sitting there, still playing Sudoku. I continued on past her. What I walked through was straight out of a horror film. Some lights were burnt out, while others flickered. The first dozen rooms weren't holding any patients. Some had stacks of mattresses, others were loaded with equipment, and some were completely bare. I felt like I was being watched, like someone or something was following me. I heard static coming from a room at the end of the hall. I saw light flickering. I walked in and I saw it was an old TV box turned on. I turned the dial off. Yeah, they only let us watch the snow show here. I jumped and whipped around to see someone sitting on the bed. A guy, looked like he was around my age, was sitting on a bed in the corner. "Sorry, didn't mean to scare you." He stood up. "I'm Frank." He offered me his hand. "Anna." We shook. He did so with great enthusiasm. "Great to meet you. It's been a while since anyone else was on my floor. At least now I have someone to talk to and hang out with and wait, stop. Can you please explain to me what the fuck is going on?" His excitement left his face. Why are we here? Isn't this hospital closed? And where are the people that used to be on this floor with you? What type of experiments was the doctor talking about? Oh, yeah, right. It makes sense that you're new. You probably haven't even been evaluated yet. What are you talking about? I was so confused, but grateful I found someone in the same circumstance that I was. Okay, I'll start from the beginning. You know the Royal Vic was a teaching hospital connected to McGill, right? Well, yeah, of course. Okay, so what if I told you that some research done here was never discussed publicly, and the reason it closed and moved its patients to the Glen was because certain doctors wanted more space and freedom to conduct their experiments? What are you talking about? That's insane. This is or was a publicly funded hospital. Questionable experiments wouldn't be allowed. It would be found out. Not if they come close to finding cures. Cures? For what? Cancer, diabetes, Alzheimer's, all the big ones. Let me get this straight. Because these doctors might be able to find cures to the most common ailments in today's society, people will look the other way to holding people captive and being experimented on? Something like that. Yeah. No, there's no way. We're Canadians, for Christ's sake. We're all about human rights. Yeah, well, c'est la vie. I couldn't believe it. Something so sinister happening right under our noses for so long. I looked up at Frank. How long have you been here? Me? No idea. Lost count after a few experiments. My memory isn't that reliable lately. He looked down at his feet, embarrassed to admit it. What have they done to you? Haven't a clue. They usually knock you out. They'll only keep you awake if you've been acting out, and the pain's too much for you to actually pay attention anyways, so I seriously suggest against it. Poor guy. He looked like an excited but scared puppy. Happy to see new people, but still terrified of the world. Attention, all patients, please report to the cafeteria for lunch. The voice came from the intercom system. I looked out the window, then at Frank, very confused. How can it be lunch? It's dark out. Yeah, it's always dark outside. I'll leave the story here for now. I'm getting tired, and my eyes can barely stay open. I need to hide the notebook while I'm still trying to stay awake, so they won't find it. Keeping reality straight hasn't been easy recently. Not really sure what they're doing to me, but the writing is helping. This is Kinetic Symphony. If you've enjoyed this narrated story, please subscribe and like the video to help me grow. Thank you.